The war between humans and the Dravari had lasted 12 long years. On the scorched moon of Kareth IV, mercy was a myth, and laughter was something only ghosts remembered. Sergeant Elias Rourke had stopped laughing long ago. He was the last survivor of Recon Squad 7, pinned down behind the skeletal remains of a mining rig. Smoke curled from his pulse rifle. His armor was cracked. His oxygen levels blinked in warning red. When the alien patrol appeared through the mist, his first thought was, this is it. 5 Dravari soldiers, tall, obsidian-skinned, eyes burning gold, fanned out across the wreckage. Their leader, easily 7 feet tall, carried a spear humming with energy. Her crest of silver quills shimmered like a crown. She looked at him the way a hawk might look at a trapped mouse. "You're human," she said in perfect common, her voice low and melodic. "And still alive, curious." Elias raised his rifle, finger trembling on the trigger. "Stay back," she tilted her head, amused. "That little weapon? You think it frightens me?" He didn't answer. He fired. The bolt fizzled harmlessly against her personal shield. She laughed, a clear, rich sound that cut through the smoke. "I could crush you before you reload," she said, stepping closer. "But tell me, why fight when you're already lost?" Her soldiers moved to surround him. Elias glanced at the bodies of his fallen squad mates, their armor torn apart. "Because someone has to make you pay," he said quietly. Something flickered in her eyes. Interest, maybe. She gestured for her warriors to halt. "Tell me your name, human," she said. He hesitated. "Elias. I am Commander Soren Velrath of the Dravari 3rd Spear." Her tone softened, just barely. "You're brave, Elias, foolish but brave." He said nothing. The blood pounding in his ears drowned out the world. Then she did something unexpected. She turned her back. "Take him," she ordered her soldiers. "He's coming with us." He woke in chains. The Dravari camp was built inside the hollow carcass of a crashed dreadnought. The air shimmered with heat, the metallic scent of ozone thick as breath. Alien banners hung from twisted steel beams. Soren stood before him, unmasked. Her features were sharp but regal. Angular cheekbones, black markings trailing down her throat like inked lightning. The eyes, though, were alive with something he didn't expect. Curiosity. "You're not like the others," she said, circling him. "You didn't beg. You didn't cry. You simply stood." Elias spat blood to the side. "Guess I don't know when to quit." She smiled faintly. "Most humans we capture either curse or prey. You do neither. Why?" He met her gaze. "Because you're not a god." Her laugh echoed softly off the walls. "And yet your kind once called us demons. Because you burned our cities. Because your kind invaded our colonies first." Her voice hardened. "Your general started this war, not mine." Elias blinked. That wasn't the story he'd been told. She noticed his confusion and smirked. "The truth unsettles you, doesn't it?" "I don't trust anything that comes from a Dravari's mouth," he said. "Then you're already a prisoner of your own lies." She turned away, but not before he saw a glimmer of pain in her expression. Not arrogance, not hatred, something older, regret maybe. Over the next few days she came often, always alone, always asking questions. She asked about Earth, about the oceans, about music, things no warlord should have cared about. He answered grudgingly at first, then with reluctant honesty. He told her about rainstorms, about the sound of laughter in old bars, about how coffee smelled at dawn. One day, as he described the sound of waves crashing against cliffs, she interrupted him. "Waves," she said softly. "We had oceans once. Before your fleets glassed them." He froze. I know," she said quietly. "You weren't there. But neither was I when your kind were slaughtered by mine. And yet here we are, ghosts of wars we didn't choose." Their eyes met across the dim light of the alien cell. For the first time, the silence between them wasn't hostile. Soren turned away, her voice low. "You humans feel so deeply. You carry sorrow like a weapon." "Better than feeling nothing," Elias said. Her gaze snapped back to him, piercing. "Feeling nothing keeps us alive, does it?" he asked. "Or does it just keep you from being alive?" For a moment, the great commander of the Dravari said nothing. Then she laughed softly, shaking her head. "You're impossible," he smirked. "I've been told." The next night, the Dravari camp was attacked, not by humans, by their own kind. Rival Dravari warbands, seeking Soren's rank, stormed the perimeter. Energy fire painted the night in green and red streaks. The dreadnought's bones groaned under explosions. Elias woke to the sound of screams and collapsing metal. His cell door shattered open. Soren stood there, blood on her armor, spear in hand. "Can you walk?" she demanded. He blinked. "You're freeing me?" She glared. "Would you rather I leave you to die?" He stood, shackles still clattering. "Why?" She thrust a plasma knife into his hands. "Because you made me feel something I'd forgotten." Her voice trembled, just slightly. "And I won't let you die for it." Before he could reply, an explosion tore through the corridor. Fire and smoke flooded the space. She grabbed his arm and pulled him into the chaos. They fought back to back through the wreckage. Her spear hummed and cracked. His pulse fire burned through shadows. Dravari rebels poured in waves, but she met them like a storm, every strike a blur of fury and grace. At one point, he took a plasma shot meant for her, the blast searing his shoulder. She snarled, cutting down the shooter in one swift motion. "Don't do that again, human," she shouted. "Next time," he gasped. "Try not to miss." Even through the flames, he saw her smile. By dawn, the battle was over. Half the camp lay in ruin. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of burned metal. They stumbled out onto the ridge beyond the wreckage, battered but alive. Below them, the desert stretched endlessly beneath the twin suns. Soren collapsed to one knee, clutching her side. Blood leaked between her fingers, iridescent silver. Elias knelt beside her. "You're bleeding bad," she shook her head. "Doesn't matter. My kind heals fast." He ripped a strip of cloth from his sleeve and pressed it to the wound anyway. "Fast isn't fast enough," she hissed in pain, but didn't pull away. "You're strange, Elias." "Human," he corrected. "We're all strange." For the first time, she didn't laugh. Instead, she reached up and touched his face, her hand cool, almost trembling. "You talk of oceans and laughter, and it stirs something in me I thought was gone." Her golden eyes shimmered faintly. "Once I killed without feeling, but now, because of you, I hesitate." He looked at her, startled. "That's not weakness. No," she whispered. "It's life." She glanced toward the horizon, where distant human ships were descending. Her expression hardened again. "Your people are coming. They will kill me on sight." "Then come with me," he said without thinking. She looked at him, eyes wide. "You'd risk that?" He nodded. "You saved me. I'm returning the favor." Soren laughed then, not cruelly, not mockingly, but softly, like a memory trying to live again. "You really are a fool, Elias Rourke." "Maybe," he said, "but I'm your fool." She blinked, as if trying to hold back a smile. And then, solemnly, she reached for her crest emblem and tore it off. The symbol of her command fell into the sand. "I can't go with you," she said, "but I can do something else." She pressed a glowing shard into his palm, a Dravari command crystal, pulsing faintly blue. "Show this to your leaders. It holds the battle logs, the truth of who started this war. Maybe they'll listen. And you?" he asked. She straightened, blood drying on her armor. "I will stay. Delay the pursuers. Give you time to reach your people." He grabbed her wrist. "You'll die." "Perhaps," she said, eyes steady. "But if I do, it will be as someone who felt again." Her voice softened. "Go, Elias, and when you remember me, remember that even monsters can change." He hesitated only a moment before running. The wind whipped around him, carrying the faint echoes of battle. Behind him, he heard her roar. A war cry not of hate, but of defiance. The kind only someone fighting for something new could make. Hours later, human rescue teams found him collapsed in the sand, clutching the glowing crystal. When they asked who had saved him, he only said, "A Dravari who remembered how to feel." He never saw her again. But sometimes, on quiet nights, when the stars above Earth shimmered like molten silver, Elias swore he could hear her laughter, soft, alive, and free.